Go comatose for me, baby.
You shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
That is one of the best movie lines ever. But the only legal comment I can think of is that she should definitely trademark that phrase, shut your mouth when you're talking to me. Wedding Crashers was a very B-grade, but classic movie from way back in 2005 starring Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson. Its opening scene shows the two main characters, who are apparently lawyers, mediating a divorce. Although mediators are usually lawyers, they don't have to be, and you'll often find divorce mediations handled by non-lawyers, and they can do a very good job. But let's just see how things are going here at the beginning of the movie.
Pathetic joke.
Right now, she doesn't know where the kids are.
Do not talk about me as a mother. I'm so sick to death of you talking about me as a mother and what I've done wrong.
They're probably at a firehouse somewhere.
Do not talk about that. I am sick of you accusing me of not being a good mother. 7 years I've been a good mother. Just remember when we went out. Just remember how you upturn a bench. Don't you fucking talk about me being a mother. I hate you.
Hey, I got an idea. Why don't you just kiss my left nut?
Okay, let me tell you right away, the mediators are screwing this up big time. I've been in hundreds of mediations, and I don't know a mediator in the world who would let things devolve to this. And here's how. A mediation is usually begun with a caucus, or a meeting of all the parties together, followed by what are called breakout sessions. That means all the parties meet together in the beginning. So what you're seeing here is normal for the beginning of a mediation, but caucus usually lasts only 15 to 30 minutes in a divorce case like this. And then, after the caucus, the parties are placed in separate rooms, and the mediator, having learned what the issues are during the caucus, now goes back and forth between the rooms so that the parties don't have much involvement with each other, and the mediator is kind of taking messages back and forth until hopefully all the issues are resolved. Because a divorce has such high emotional involvement, mediators should always use breakout rooms to keep the parties from getting off track, like what is happening here. So here you can see the mediators have lost all control, and if the parties, for example, insisted on not using breakout rooms, which is possible, the mediator should either, one, allow only the lawyers to make remarks, or two, if they insist, require the husband and wife only to address the mediator and not each other directly.
I told you this was a bad idea.
You know what, Ken? The bad idea would be to let your client walk out of here today and drag this thing out for another year, wasting more time and wasting more money. The only good idea is to let me and John do our job and mediate this thing right here.
So what you just heard Vince Vaughn's character explain is why mediation works. It works 74% of the time. 74% of cases that are mediated resolve. And it saves everyone money, and it keeps control of the issues in the hands of the parties, and it doesn't put control in the hands of a judge or a jury. But really nowadays, there's no choice. Every case has to be mediated. So the lawyer who said, oh, this mediation is a waste of time, that's probably not very realistic, because he probably had no choice but to do it. When you file a lawsuit, you are ordered to mediation nowadays. Want a trial? Go to mediation first.
You want to hear the crazy thing? I know it doesn't feel like it, but we're making progress. We settled the deal with the cars. Let's see, that takes us to frequent flyer miles. We're flying.
Those are mine.
I want them.
You know what we're going to do? We're going to split them right down the middle. How'd that be, Mr. Kroger?
It would be not good at all. I earned those miles.
Yeah, you earned them flying to Denver to meet your whore.
Oh, Lord.
Well, she's not afraid to express herself sexually, if that's what you mean.
She is a stripper, for God's sake.
She is not.
Her name is Chastity. She is white trash. Same as you. Hillbilly.
Okay, so now we know that this whole divorce has come down to who gets to keep the airline miles. That's literally all that's left to fight over, and this is very realistic. Especially in divorce mediations, often parties fight over what are really petty little things when looking from the outside in. Although very important to the parties, we learn that the wife wants the airline miles because the husband accrued them while visiting his girlfriend. Now, in general, assets acquired during a marriage are marital property, and that would include intangibles like frequent flyer miles. So the husband's statement that he earned them is really not legally relevant. And then Owen's character makes a good suggestion that they split them and be done with it. But the wife raises a more interesting issue, that he was flying to meet his mistress. In divorce, there's a concept called dissipation of marital assets. The idea is that if one spouse wastes marital assets, that the spouse should have to pay the marriage back what was wasted. Marital waste can be from gambling, an expensive drug habit, or spending money on an affair like flying to meet a girlfriend. So although the wife doesn't make the legal argument specifically, she does raise the fact that the mileage was accrued going to meet the girlfriend, and that's actually a valid dissipation of marital asset argument.
Go comatose for me, baby.
You shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
Hold it. This is getting confusing. You didn't always hate each other. There had to be some nice moments during the courtship, maybe? Or the wedding?
The wedding had to be fun.
You get the
have your families
decorations,
together.
families coming together. That's a nice moment. What'd you have to eat?
Crab cakes.
Are you kidding me? Crab cakes? How could you not have a good
I love
time eating
crab
crab cakes?
cakes.
I love them.
And
They're
you got
phenomenal.
a band? Did you have a band?
Yeah.
Good or bad?
Who gives a shit? It's a great band. It's a bad band. It's like pizza, baby. It's good no matter what. There's music in the air.
Shout, you
Yeah.
hate it. A little bit
Hey, shout now. Jump up and shout now. It's a good time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rubbing up against each other. Just a couple of kids who like to fuck trying to make it honest. I get it.
Now, I've never had two mediators at mediation before, mainly because they are expensive, $500 an hour nowadays. And usually mediators are older lawyers with experience in the area of law. You won't see mediators as young and as Vaughn and Owen are in this movie, but maybe this scene does make a case for having two young mediators.
Guys, the real enemy here is the institution of marriage. It's not realistic. It's crazy. And don't do this for the other person. It's about saying yes to yourself and saying yes to your future.
Say yes.
And have some opportunities for yourself. I'm sure you'd love to be free. Maybe go out and meet some Latin guy that can dance, grind up on you, make it feel dangerous but also safe. And how about you? Don't you want to get inside chastity without having to wonder if anyone's going to find out?
God, wouldn't that be sweet?
Wouldn't that be nice? And have some Latin guy sweating all over you, talking to you in languages you don't understand, needing you, wanting you, taking you?
All we're trying to say is, put your swords away for a second. Let's finish this and let's move on.
Get out there and get some strange ass.
So this is the best part of the scene, and believe it or not, the most realistic. I've been in mediation in a case that as a lawyer I knew would never ever settle. My client wanted $500,000 and the other side absolutely denied any liability for my client's damages, and I walk into mediation thinking this case is never going to settle, and 4 hours later I walk out of the office building with a signed settlement agreement in my hand. I've actually seen a mediator flirt with a client before, not as good as Vaughn does in this scene, but a good mediator will do almost whatever it takes to get a case settled. Now, what is not realistic is the time frame, although understandable because this is a movie and they don't have a lot of time, but a good mediation takes a lot of time because people get worn down and their defenses kind of erode away over time, and that's part of the process of mediation. This mediation would probably take about 3 hours in real life. It would take that long to figure out what's involved in the frequent flyer mileage.
Could you give her a glass of water so she can take that?
Hey, John, that's weird. That glass looks half full to me.
Wow, now that you mention it, it is half full.
You can have the miles.
Nah, sweetie, you take the miles.
Great, great. Let's sign the paperwork and we are done.
These are just semantics. If you guys want to throw a couple miles at us, we'll take a couple. The big thing is that we're all moving on.
Could you two just not talk anymore?
So, Owens and Vaughn have it resolved and they are writing up the agreement. The mediation settlement agreement is a contractually binding document and it's signed by all the parties and their lawyers. The only problem I have with the ending of the scene is that she says he can have the miles and then he says that she can have the miles, and which is it? Never leave anything unclear at the end of mediation because people do get buyer's remorse, and so the mediation settlement agreement has to be super clear. So thanks for watching, and please subscribe if you like videos like this. That's a great idea. And I leave you with my favorite mediation gambit, rock, paper, scissors.